Today's lesson is topic writing, writing a descriptive essay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our program. My name is Roger.
And I'm Hanny.
And today we're going to do some topic writing. You have a topic in mind, you have a subject, and you need to write an essay about that particular topic. And in today's lesson, we're going to be writing a descriptive essay. If something's descriptive, then it will describe something. You might be asked to describe your childhood, for example. That means you give us lots of details and maybe tell us some stories. You become very descriptive, or you describe your childhood.
好，我们这次的主题式写作呢，是要练习撰写描写文。我们在用 descriptive 这个形容词的时候，它可以用来描述是具有描述性的。好，那我们知道描写呢，在这个故事啊、小说、游记等等的文类当中是很常见的写作技巧。那么描写文呢，则是要借由生动精确的文字描写，来帮助读者在他们脑海里勾勒出清楚具体的图像，就好像他们也身临其境一样。所以我们在对像是人啊、事物啊、地点或是某个情境在描述的时候，你就可以透过一些感官细节的描写，让读者留下深刻的印象。像是你可能看到了什么东西啊，听到了什么，闻到什么，用一些具体的文字去描述。好，那我们现在就来练习写作吧。
All right, we're going to write a descriptive essay based on a couple of pictures. In our lesson today, we're going to describe my favorite place to relax. Now, of course, we've got two pictures to refer to. One looks like a forest setting, and the other one looks like somebody is reading a book while enjoying a cup of coffee. We'll get to that in just a couple of seconds. But first of all, let's talk about the first picture. Here's one way that you might use to describe this picture.Some people relax by spending time in nature. They savor moments when the only sounds they can hear are the gentle murmuring of a lonely stream and the occasional fragment of birdsong from deep in the forest. Ooh, that's a very vivid description. Yes, indeed, you might relax by spending time in nature, in a forest or someplace like that, and you can really enjoy or savor the moments there when the sounds that you can hear are like the gentle murmuring of a lonely stream. Here we've got the word murmur, which refers to kind of a low-pitched sound, like if you hear a bunch of insects or bees, we could describe the sound as a murmur, the murmur of bees, for example. And yes, you might like the sound of a lonely stream, or you might hear a little bit, a little snippet, a fragment of bird song in the forest, maybe something like this.
Ooh. 好厉害的鸟叫声，我们来看一下，我们这边要练习写作呢，是要练习以 my favorite place to relax 来当题目，写一篇作文。那这边我们看到会有两张图片，一张图片看起来好像在森林里面漫步，好好的享受这样子，然后另一张图片看起来好像会有咖啡有书，感觉就是在咖啡厅好好的享受那种悠哉的气氛。所以你同学们可以想想看，你是用什么方式去放松呢？那所以我们这个文章你就会看到它的架构会是，我们先描述这两张图，然后在第二段的时候会写出你最喜欢放松的地点，然后还有你是怎么放松的。好，那现在我们的第一段练习写作呢，就是要根据两个图片来描述他们各自代表的放松方式。像第一张图，我们课文范例写到说，有些人借由花时间在大自然中来放松，那他们尽情享受这个时刻，唯一能听到的声音就是偏僻小溪的那种潺潺流水声，还有偶尔从树林深处传来那种阵阵鸟鸣声。好，所以这边我们就用那种声音的感官描述来带给读者不一样的感觉。好，那这边也可以学一下这个字 savor， 它除了指这种食物的品味，也可以表达说你去尽情体验啊，去好好的享受什么，所以我们可以把这个字学起来。那接着的话我们写写看，我们也来试着描述这张图片。你也可以说，像你可能有很多朋友是借由长途健行来放松，然后沿 沿着那些人们走过的蜿蜒山路，在前进的同时去好好享受，去珍惜森林里面的宁静。那我们补充一下哦，你可以用 make one's way 去表达你要前进前往某个地方。然后还有一个形容词可以学起来，叫做 well worn。那这个字它除了描述衣服鞋子是穿旧了的状态，也可以描述是被经常使用的。所以当你说 a well-worn path 或者是 a well-worn trail， 就是很多人踏过的路。好，那现在我们请 Roger 老师告诉我们说，这个换你写写看，你还可以怎么描述这个图片呢？
Here's how you might describe this picture. For example, many of my friends relax by going on long hikes. They cherish the silence and stillness of the forest as they make their way along winding, well-worn mountain trails. Ooh, that also is a very vivid description. Of course, this person is describing his or her friends who like to relax going on long hikes. They enjoy, they treasure, they adore the silence and the stillness of the forest, and they make their way along those winding, well-worn mountain trails, those trails that lots of people have walked on before. Therefore, they're really easy to hike on.
我们看到我们刚刚这个换你写写看呢，它其实比较像是视觉的感受。当你说这个蜿蜒的路啊，还有很多人踩过的路，你马上就有那种画面的感觉，还有那种森林的宁静，对不对？好，那接着我们来看看课文范例它怎么描述我们第二张图。
Okay, here's how you might describe picture B, or at least how we're going to describe it. Others prefer the intimate interiors of cafes, where they can sip a warm cup of coffee while the conversations of strangers rise and fall in the background. Indeed, that does sound very relaxing. If you've spent a long day at the office or you've spent many months working on various projects, and all you want to do is find a nice cafe to sit down in and relax with a good novel, indeed, you might enjoy the intimate interior of a cafe. If it's intimate, it's close, it's personal, you might go there with a friend or something. The interior is inside as opposed to the exterior, which is outside. And yes, you can slowly enjoy that cup of coffee. You can sip it. You don't need to gulp it down. It's probably too hot to gulp it down. So indeed, you need to sip it. And yes, you can listen to other people having conversations, but you're just going to sit there and relax, read your novel, or chat with your friend, or whatever.
好，我们看到第二个图片呢，我们的课文范例它是描述说，有些人较喜欢待在温馨的咖啡馆里面，在那边呢，他们可以这样慢慢啜饮着一杯热咖啡，当然不是大口大口喝，一点都不悠哉，对不对？好，那么还有一边听着隐约传来陌生人此起彼落的谈话声，所以这边你可以想象，哇，一杯热咖啡马上就有那种烟冒起来的感觉，然后你可以听到旁边很多人在聊他们的生活啊，可能聊旅行、聊工作什么，有一些陌生人聊天的声音，还有那种温馨咖啡馆，马上也会给你有那种画面的感觉。那注意一下，我们虽然在描述个别独立的图片，可是我们在写作承接上也要特别注意。像第一个段落，他说 Some people relax by 点点点点点，那接着我们这个图片则是用 Others prefer 点点点来表达说有些人怎么样，有些人怎么样去做一个承接。好，那现在呢，我们换你写写看。刚刚我们是说这个长途健行来放松嘛，我们说 Many of my friends relax by 点点点。那接着我们来写写看，你接着也要说，那有些呢，可能则是比较喜欢拿着一本好书，蜷曲在舒适的咖啡馆里面啊，待好几个小时，去听听来自外面那种繁忙街道的那种微小声音，因为你躲在店里面，那街道上那种繁忙声音就变小了嘛。好，那这边我们其实可以用 curl up 去表达蜷曲，这个 curl C-U-R-L 有蜷曲的意思，那么 curl up 就是蜷缩着身体，你可以用 curl up in bed 去表达蜷曲在床上那种意思。然后还有我们刚刚说到这个外面的那种街道繁忙声音，你可以用到 buzz 这个字，它除了指嗡嗡的声音，也可以用来表达那种繁忙啊热闹的氛围。好，那现在呢，换你写写看，我们来听听看 Roger 老师这个句子可以怎么描述呢？
Here's how you might write this. Some of my friends, however, prefer to spend hours curled up with a good book inside a cozy cafe, listening to the faint buzz of activity from the streets outside. So, Hanny, which one do you like, the forest or the cafe?
I prefer the former.
The former. You like the former. So yes, indeed, you're from the country, so I can understand why you would prefer that over a cafe.
Exactly. 我比较喜欢安静一点的环境了。好，那我们接着来看看要第二段的写作呢，就是要去表达你喜欢去哪里，你会做什么来放松身心呢？所以我们一开始就要先来说明地点了。我们来看看课文范例怎么说。
Okay, so here's what it says. Personally, the place I find most relaxing is the backseat of a car on a long drive through winding mountain roads. That does sound very relaxing. If someone else is doing the driving, of course, you can sit in the back seat of a car or in a bus for that matter and just look at the scenery as it passes by.
好，这边文课文范例写到说，就我个人而言，我觉得最令人放松的地方就是行驶于蜿蜒山路的长途车程的后座上，不是驾驶座，因为开车的人要开山路很累嘛，你在后座可以这样看风景啊，然后看一看可能就睡着，这样真的很放松。好，那话我们写写看哦。你可以想想看说自己最觉得放松的地点是在哪里，也许有的人喜欢海边，有的人喜欢山上，不一定嘛。像你可以写说，对我来说最令人放松的地方就是海边海滩，尤其是在暑假那种漫长慵懒的日子啊，整天无所事事就直接躺在那边什么事都不做，就看着海，然后玩玩水，跟朋友一起玩这样子。好，那我们请 Roger 老师帮我们示范看看，这个换你写写看可以怎么说。
Yep, here's how you might write this. For me, the most relaxing place is the beach, especially during the long, lazy days of summer vacation. Yes, indeed, some people enjoy the mountains and some people enjoy the ocean. And in this particular case, this person likes the beach.Though not me, it's too hot and I get too much sand on my feet and in my swimming suit. It is very uncomfortable.
So would you say that you're a mountain person?
I would say I'm a mountain person indeed and not so much a beach person. How about you?
I'm more of a beach person.
All right, you're from Jinshan and there's a big beach there indeed, so you're probably used to getting sand on your feet all the time.That's
right. 接着我们看看在山上的体验跟这个海边体验就是不一样嘛。那现在呢，我们来看看说，这个人他如果喜欢坐在这个山路车程的后座的话，他的体验是怎么样让他感到放松的？我们看看课文范例怎么写。
Okay, so we're back in the mountains, and here's the description. I watch as the landscape gradually changes before my eyes, and the constant sense of forward motion lulls me into a state of half-consciousness. Ooh, indeed, you're in the back seat watching the scenery go past. You're watching the landscape gradually change. You see big trees, then you see valleys and mountains and the ocean and stuff like that. So you also have this sense of moving forward, and that's kind of hypnotizing. Basically, it lulls you into a state of half-consciousness, which means it kind of makes you feel a little tired, a little relaxed, and you're not quite asleep, you're half-conscious.
好，我们这边他写到说呢，我看着景色在我眼前逐渐变化，就是他坐在后座的时候，看着窗外的景色这样不断变化嘛，然后不断的向前移动，那种感觉让他进入一个半梦半醒的状态。好，那现在呢，我们写写看，我们要回到刚刚那个在海滩的那个例子，去写写看自己的体验。也许你可以说，我躺在阳伞这个阴影下面啊，然后你可能下面在沙滩上面，你还铺一个毛巾躺在上面，可以感受到这个沙子的温暖，然后呢，你还可以听着孩子们他们可能在玩啊、嬉笑啊，然后在那边玩泼水啊、泼来泼去这样子。好，那我们试着请 Roger 老师帮我们示范看看，这个换你写写看可以怎么说。
Here's how you might write this. Lying on my back in the shade of a sun umbrella, I feel the warmth of the sand through my towel and listen to the children laughing and splashing in the shallows. Indeed, this does sound quite relaxing. Maybe I'm going to change my mind about the beach here. Yes, if you're in the shade under a sun umbrella, it's not so hot. And yes, the hot sand is underneath your towel. That feels wonderful. And of course, the sound of children laughing and playing is quite relaxing as well. They're splashing in the shallows. They're splashing water in the shallow areas of the beach.
对，我们看到这些描述真的都很生动哦，包含你可能在海滩浅滩这边在泼水啊，还有这种车窗外面景色不断移动，这些都是非常 descriptive 的描述。好，那我们接着就准备要进入我们第二阶段的文章咯。
Okay, so here is our essay for today. The title is My Favorite Place to Relax. Some people relax by spending time in nature. They savor moments when the only sounds they can hear are the gentle murmuring of a lonely stream and the occasional fragment of birdsong from deep in the forest. Yes, indeed, that does sound nice. Picking up a small cold rock, they might take a moment to appreciate its weathered smoothness before skipping it downstream, the sudden burst of activity breaking the stillness of the scene. Oh, yes, that reminds me when I was a kid looking for the flat rocks and trying to skip those stones across the water of a lake or a stream.
好，这边我们来补充一下，就是说有一个单字叫做 weathered， 在这边跟这个气候没有关系，它是当形容词，那是表达说可能因为日晒啊、雨淋、风吹而风化的或是侵蚀的。好，然后在我们看到呢，这边他有提到说捡一颗小石头，然后 skipping it downstream 就是把它打水漂顺流而下。动词 skip 在这边就是表达使石头这样弹跳着掠过水面，也就是我们中文说的打水漂。如果你要说你很会打水漂，你可以说 I'm really good at skipping stones。然后这边他用到 downstream 就是去描述它是顺流而下的。
Or you can skip the stone upstream as well. I used to do that, and of course I used to count how many bounces the stone had across the water before it fell into the water. Hanny, you grew up next to the ocean, so I'm sure you're very good at skipping stones.
Well, I'm very bad at this.
Oh,
sadly.
No. That must be quite embarrassing for somebody from a beach town. But again, we're talking about people enjoying being in the forest there next to a lonely stream and skipping a rock downstream. And, of course, that activity will break the stillness of the scene. And other people prefer the intimate interiors of cafes where they can sip a warm cup of coffee while the conversations of strangers rise and fall in the background. Actually, sometimes the conversations of strangers can be kind of loud and obnoxious, so it kind of depends on the kind of coffee shop that you're hanging out at. Some coffee shops are actually quite loud, and I could get a headache from being in such places like that. So I'm not sure I would prefer the intimate interior of a cafe. Taiwan has so many wonderful places outdoors. Why would you want to waste time in a coffee shop?
好，真的要慎选咖啡厅。我记得以前还没有禁烟的时候，可能还会闻到烟味，然后还有很多人很大声的聊天，所以你会希望是有一个 intimate interiors of cafes。这个 intimate 可以形容是温馨的啊，或是气氛融洽的。那这个字当然也可以形容是亲密的、密切的那种意思。
Okay, so let's continue to talk about our essay for today.It goes on to say, with their nose in a good book, they drift away into a welcoming fiction, just familiar enough to evoke faint traces of their own memories. So, yes, to each their own. Some people would like to hang out in a coffee shop, and some people enjoy reading. So you might have your nose in a good book, which means you've got a book open and you're reading it. You're looking at the words on the page. And as you read, you drift away into a welcoming fiction. Here, fiction, of course, is referring to a work of fiction, maybe a novel or something like that. And, of course, if you're really involved with the story, if you're following the story, you're kind of transported to another place, so you drift away into the world of that book, just like wood drifts away from the shore in the ocean.
好，这边有看到 drift 这个字，它不是指漂流的意思哦，而是有那种逐渐陷入的那种语义。好，然后呢，我们用到说 with one's nose in a good book， 它其实就跟 have one's nose in a good book 就是意思差不多的，就是说好像把鼻子埋进书里面一样，这个鼻子紧贴在书里面，就是说你沉浸在书里埋头苦读的意思。那在这边呢，我们还有看到一个字 fiction， 它只是指小说或是虚构故事的意思。
Okay, so let's continue here. The next paragraph says, Personally, the place I find most relaxing is the back seat of a car on a long drive through winding mountain roads. There's something comforting about the low hum of the wheels on the road and the slow meandering of the car as it takes the corners. Here we've got the word hum that is similar in meaning to the word murmur, which is like a low sound that can be kind of relaxing. And here we've got the verb to meander. We're describing the car here. It's just kind of going around corners, going straight, going left, going right, following the road. So it's meandering as it goes around those corners.
好，这边看到一个 hum 这个字，它是当名词。刚刚 Roger 老师提到，其实就跟 murmur 很像，它可以表达那种持续低沉的声音，然后或者是表达这种嗡嗡声。那用在人身上，有时候我们会用来指说那种自言自语的感觉。然后再看到动词 meander， 它可以描述可能是河流道路，它是蜿蜒啊、迂回曲折的。只是在文中它是动名词的用法，我们用 the slow meandering of the car 去描述说这个车子它是缓慢而曲折的前进的意思。
Okay, and I watch as the landscape gradually changes before my eyes, and the constant sense of forward motion lulls me into a state of half-consciousness. So yes, you watch as the landscape changes. Landscape here just refers to the scenery, what you're seeing out the window of the car. And again, it's very relaxing. It's lulling you into sleep.
好，这样我们看到这个 lull 这个字 L-U-L-L 它当动词呢可以指什么使安静啊，使昏昏欲睡。我们说 lull somebody to sleep 就是使某人入睡。那你也可以用 lull somebody into 加上一个名词或动名词去表达说使某人放心进入某个状态里。那这个单字呢我们也常常会用被动语态来表达哦。
And we finish off our essay by saying, slowly but surely, my mind is dulled to nothing but a vague awareness of movement and time. I close my eyes, content to simply be, to simply exist. So here, slowly but surely, it's happening slowly, but it's still happening, even though it's slow, and your mind is dulled. It's not so sharp and painful. You're just relaxing there, and you have this vague awareness of movement and time. Something's vague when it's not definitely seen or perceived. It's vague. Sometimes people talk vaguely. They don't come straight to the point. And indeed, this does sound very relaxing. You're just content to simply be or simply exist.
好，那这边我们再补充一个字是 dull D-U-L-L 它在这边不是当形容词而是当动词去表达缓和减轻，像是缓和某个情绪啊，减轻痛苦等等。像我们说 dull the pain 就是缓解疼痛的那种意思，只是在文中它是被动的用法。好，那以上就是今天的讲解咯。
Okay, that brings us to the end of our topic writing unit for the month of June. Thank you for joining us, and make sure you join Hanny and myself again next time for another edition of our program. From all of us here at All Plus Interactive English, my name is Roger.
And I'm Hanny.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.